Are you a business owner who finds themselves complaining, criticizing, and condemning the marketplace? Find yourself procrastinating to get things done because of your negative mental attitude and your woe is me mindset? Today we're going to look at how having a positive mental attitude from a biblical perspective can help improve and increase your business and generate more sales, more revenue, and more money, and ultimately a better, healthier, and wealthier you. Let's hop right into it. So first off, I want to start in a passage from the Bible that says, and we're going to go to Proverbs chapter 12, verse 14. And it says, "A man shall be satisfied by the fruit of his mouth, and the recompense of a man's hands shall be rendered unto him." Okay, now, wait, let's just keep going for a second. Okay, let's hop over to Proverbs 13. It says it again in a different way. It says, "A man shall eat good by the fruit of his mouth, but the soul of the transgressors shall eat violence." Okay, so we're going to start right there. So if you don't know already, the Bible is more of a principle or guideline book that is giving us as Christians and business owners the guidelines and the business practices of the kingdom of heaven. This book is about a kingdom, and it is about the establishment and systems of that kingdom and how the citizens of this kingdom, being us Christians, should live in accordance to it. Now, a lot of people may think that the Bible is a bunch of mumbo jumbo about living positively and getting saved. It is not any of that, but it is all of that at the same time. If you look at the Bible from a more in-depth perspective, you will start to see scriptures like this. A man shall be satisfied by the fruit of his mouth. So what does that mean? God is literally telling us that the words that come out of our mouths will either render good fruit or they will render bad fruit. And good fruit in this substance, or in this circumstance, I should say, would be considered wealth, income generation, and ultimately a healthy, wealthier lifestyle. But then on the flip side, we see that the soul of the transgressor shall eat violence. So it says first, "A man shall eat good of the fruit of his mouth, but the soul of the transgressor shall eat violence." Now let that sink in for a quick second. I'm going to hop over to Napoleon Hill. And in Think and Grow Rich, The Black Choice by Dennis Kimbrough and Napoleon Hill says, "Do not criticize, condemn, or complain. Any fool can criticize, condemn, or complain, and most fools do. But it takes character and self-control to be understanding and forgiving. Instead of condemning others, try to understand them. Figure out why they do what they do. That's the most profitable and intriguing, that's more profitable and intriguing than criticism. It breeds sympathy, tolerance, and kindness." Now, let's go back to where it says, instead of trying to condemn others, try to understand them. So this goes right back to that initial point of how do we use a positive mindset to stop condemning and criticizing the marketplace. A lot of times you hear creators and business owners say, "Oh, the market is too saturated." Is the market too saturated, or is your thinking saturated with negativity? That's a question that you should ask yourself, number one, because there's plenty of space in the marketplace. We know from the Word of God, from the Bible, it literally says that a man will eat good from the fruit of his lips, and his hands will reap the recompense of his labor. So what does that mean? That means that you will literally be able to go and start speaking. So Turn your camera on. Get your cell phone. Start speaking good and positively about your business. Start speaking positively about the service you offer. Start speaking positively towards the needs of your customer base and your clients. And you will start to see that you will reap the rewards. Get out the office, go meet someone, have positive thoughts about the fact that you can reach your target audience and that there is a niche audience specifically for you, because none of us speak or communicate the same way. So I want to hop back in to that Think and Grow Rich and what Napoleon Hill was saying, because all of these personality traits that are going to improve your business come from Napoleon Hill's 29 traits of a pleasing personality. And this one is having a positive mental attitude. Now, Napoleon Hill said that if we take inventory and figure out why they do what they do, that is more profitable than and intriguing than criticism, and it brings sympathy and tolerance and kindness. Now, what Dillon Evans says, what I say is that figuring out why people do what they do leads to a positive mental attitude, because you are empowered to understand the activity of the market around you. Let that sink in. And then, moreover, I want to add that a positive mental attitude causes you to speak and to think in a more profitable and intriguing way than criticism. The low vibrational and spiritual activity of criticism breeds the opposite of sympathy, kindness, and tolerance, which is intolerance, criticism, and a mean negative attitude. Now, if that sounds like you, you may want to take a step back and recalibrate the way that you are thinking about your approaches to the marketplace. So let's talk about some actionable steps towards this. How can we actionably eat good of the word of our mouth? So like I said earlier, we can get in front of the camera. We can start talking to our audience. We can improve our mental attitude and speak positive words to ourselves. If you don't think you're good enough, if you don't think you're articulate enough, if you don't think that you know how to use your mouth to eat profitably from it, practice. 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 Practice makes perfect. Well, that's what a lot of people say. Myron Golden, a great speaker and orator, says, practice makes you better. Each day that you practice using your verbal communication skills, if you see, for example, I used to work in a factory. I used to build tires for an unsaid company. And while I was there, I was consistently speaking to my coworkers in a way that dazzled them and that caused them to marvel at my just ability to think outside of the box of the building that I was working in. I'm making $100,000 a year talking about I'm here for a good time, not a long time. I know that it is not my slot or plight in life to not see the light of day for the majority of the day, to work all night, sleep all day, and do it over and over again and think that I'm living just because I have a decent standard of living. Where was the living? Was one of the things that I used to say to my coworkers. There has to be more to life than this. And I would be in that factory day in and day out, walking around, talking to the Lord, talking to Yeshua. I'm asking him, I'm saying, Lord, please direct me. Yeshua, please direct me to my next step. And eventually the Lord said, hey, sales is the way to go for you. Now, that positive mental talk, I didn't walk around. Now, some of the guys that walked around 20 years, 30 years, even 10 years, 5 years, I can't do anything else. This is what they're thinking. This is their mental attitude. And then they say the words that come out of their mental attitude, and then they eat the fruit of tiredness, wickedness, jealousy, envy for one another, envy for a different lifestyle. I mean, when they could ultimately utilize the God-given gifts, the Bible says, I formed you in your mother's womb. I knitted you together. He bestowed upon us great gifts from the very beginning. And yet we take so much time, place, and opportunity to sit and have the nerve to have negative mental thought processes, to have a negative perspective, a negative mental attitude, condemning, criticizing, and complaining about life, rather than using the word as a guideline. And if you didn't know that you're supposed to eat good of the fruit of your mouth, what does that mean? That the fruit of your mouth can make you rich. Solomon, the king who wrote, the wisest man in the world, who wrote these many proverbs, was the richest man known to date. Spiritually, intellectually, and in wisdom, so articulately. And if that's not a word, it is today. Okay? Now, let's keep moving. Now, I want to give you some actionable steps on how to live this and work this out. So, in Psalms, I have some notes here. In Psalms 27, verse 13 through 14, it says this: I had fainted, unless I believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Now, right there, we know that's all talking about mental perspective, mental perseverance. I would have fainted. It says I had fainted. So we all feel weak. We all have those moments of feeling like, man, I can never do this. When I tell you, I've been a serial entrepreneur for 10 years. I've had my fair share of business blow-ups, relational fallouts, and even just negative and bad days and encounters and experiences with people. But nonetheless, those moments when I had fainted, I only had to believe to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. And then it goes on to say, wait on the Lord, be of good courage. What kind of courage? Good courage. And he shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, wait on the Lord. Sometimes we're so busy complaining. We're so quick to complain and faint that we forget to do the one thing that we should do in the first place. Look to and wait on the Lord. So that what? We will believe. See, okay. Now, I'm going to reference Myron Golden because he's one of my favorite speakers. And he says you have to be the person first. And to be the person, what is to be? To be, and what is to believe? To believe. You live out your being. You live out those things you believe. So to be the person, you're the person who lives out those things you believe. That belief system, to believe, is the quintessential first step of having a positive mental attitude. We see it actionably here right now. David was one of the most actionable psalmists in the Bible. We know that he lived out everything that he said in this word. And we know that God honored his life in great substance and wealth, because wealth is a spiritual property. You have to go out and put more spiritual value out into the world. Every piece of content you create has a spiritual and a high vibrational value, more so than the negative, complaining, criticizing, and condemning thoughts and attitudes that you have. Even the thoughts that you have about creation, as long as you believe that you are the person to implement those thoughts and that those thoughts were uniquely given to you, then you have no reason or need to feel as though you need to stay in a negative mental attitude. So let's keep moving. So Romans 15:5 says this: now the patience of God and consolation grant you to be like-minded one towards another according to Jesus Christ. I'm going to read that again. Now, the God of patience and consolation grant you to be like-minded one toward another according to Jesus Christ. So if you break that down, it's saying that we must have a long suffering. What is patience? Long suffering. We must have endurance. So the second part, or the second key outside of having belief, is having endurance. To have a positive mental attitude, you have to have endurance in your thought to overcome the mental obstacles, the letdowns, the hard days, and the moments where you're lacking in the belief in yourself. You have to have the patience and endurance to know that if you reach out to the Father, that if you reach out to the Lord, that if you take the time to reevaluate your mental attitude, if you take the time to write down some of those ideas and then get in front of a camera and start posting them consistently, weekly. Myron Golden said, I'm going to post a video every year and then I'll get good. Not every year. One video every week. I'm saying that I'm going to post one video every week until I have a positive enough mental attitude to expect that what God put inside me was put inside me to help someone like you. Okay, let's move on. To be like-minded one towards another according to Jesus Christ. So that's saying that Christ will empower you if you be patient and have endurance, to have a like mind with the marketplace that you're trying to reach, so that you give the marketplace what they're asking for, not the negative thinking or complaining or criticism for them not liking what you want to give them. The marketplace is not looking for what you want to give them sometime. Listen to the marketplace. Listen to your clients. Listen to the feedback. Listen to all the various forms of input that you're getting from those who you are looking to serve. Once you identify them, soften your heart as Christ has told us to love our neighbors as ourselves, and give your neighbors, aka your clients, the service, the product, or the content that they're asking for. Now, if I was a business owner in your position, I would be focusing on giving my marketplace products, because you don't have to always be there to make money off of them. And I will be focused on giving them content to redeem your time, as Myron Golden says. It is incredible that on YouTube, you can literally redeem the time you have wasted. People can watch you for years at a time from you posting one video. They can fall in love. 100,000 people can fall in love with your one video or your 10 videos and listen to you for 30 years in 1 year because of the playback time and because of your ability to reach them while you're sleeping and they're awake. You have given them unlimited access to you for free. Community service content will drastically increase your business. Okay, let's get to another actionable step. So I want to take you over here, lastly, to Philippians 4:8. Philippians 4:8. Okay, and it says, "Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are a good report, if there be any virtue, any virtue." So when you're saying to yourself, man, that idea can't work, is there virtue in that idea? You have to believe that there is virtue inside of you. See, this positive mental attitude starts with you waking up, stretching, and being thankful that God gave you the ability to open your eyes, because you do not have the ability, and I do not have the ability. I know I don't have the ability to make myself see, as Myron Golden would say. I have the ability to open my eyes, but I can't make myself see. There are plenty of blind people out here who can open their eyes, but they cannot see a thing. You have to have the ability to see the virtue in the little gifts that you're overlooking every day. To take heart and to take notice and to take advantage and to take action on anything that be of virtue. What is virtue? Virtue is substance. Virtue is value. Anything of value, of positive value. It says, if there be any praise, think on these things. Some of these ideas that you're having can bring you great praise. They have great virtue. They come out of a place of praise and thankfulness for your gifts. They're coming out of a place of purity and loveliness, not complaining, contempt. What are my words? Complaining, criticism, and condemnation. Don't condemn yourself. Don't condemn the marketplace. Don't criticize about the marketplace. Don't complain about the marketplace. Don't complain about what you can and can't do. Don't complain about the resources you have or do not have. Do you know that before I started doing these videos, I was literally watching other YouTubers, watching other people do multiplicities of different types of the same content. And for whatever reason, I thought you wouldn't listen to me because they may have said it the same or a different way. But then I started to notice I would see the same thing over and over and over. And only thing that needed to shift was my mental attitude towards me putting out the content. Because the Bible is saying the reason why I'm saying the same thing over and over and over by different content creators said in different and unique ways is because if there be anything that is true, whatsoever things are true. If it's true, it's going to resonate. If it's honest, it's going to resonate. If it's authentic, it's going to resonate. If it's pure, authenticity is you in your purest form, sharing what resonates with you. If there be anything that is lovely, if whatsoever is good or a good report, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. All the motivational content on your social media timeline that you're passing up, that you're not taking advantage of, you have to immediately terminate that negative mental thought process that says that this isn't for me, this can't work for me, I can't do this, or people wouldn't listen to me sharing this level of value. So to recap, to have a more positive mental attitude, you first need to believe. First, you need to believe. Then you need to have endurance. Endurance that will put you on one accord with the marketplace you're looking to reach. Then, and finally, think and dwell on positive thoughts. Think and dwell on positive thoughts. So that's like an acronym, BET. It's a bet. When you're saying it's a bet, you're saying I'm believing and having endurance in positive thoughts. I'm believing, having endurance in positive thinking. Following whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report. If there be any virtue if there be any praise, think on these things. My name is Dillon Evans. I wish you the best. I hope that you be blessed by the best. And may the Lord, Yeshua, our God, keep you and bless you every day. Until next time, you have a great day.